Hello, and welcome back. Caves of Qud, Qudding with
Oh,
Caelyn.
it's me.
It's you.
It's me. I'm here. We're cutting with me.
We're cutting with you, and
Mhm.
I'm super happy about it. And I didn't say it
Yeah,
last time,
good
but
thing.
also thank you so much.
Of course, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm happy to be here, and I'm psyched to see how this build blossoms into a beautiful mutant flower.
A beautiful mutant, and there's something like very literal about that because I
Uh
really
huh.
can't just like picture the limbs just kind of like coming out like a Syriac video. You
Oh
know,
yes, very much so. Also, you can gain plant parts from the Chimera mutation, so you may in fact end up part plant, um,
that's fantastic.
which will be fun if that happens.
So I think I'm going to head to the Rust Wells.
I think
I,
that's a good first step. Yes,
I
I agree.
generally, oh, I'm lost already.
Oops.
I generally Jopa crack to Red Rock, but there's a thing in there that I don't want to have to kill.
I
Um,
understand that, and I agree with you. There's you don't have to mess with that right now. It's much easier to do Argive's quest first, in my opinion. And besides, you get to explore a bunch of the salt marshes. I actually like to take that first walk on foot because when you walk on foot, you always have somewhere to retreat to. That
right.
becomes more of a pain in the butt when you get to the desert canyons, so I usually give it up around there.
I used to do that. I wanted like I was doing that for a little while, and then I stopped because it was getting me killed. That being said, that was before learned more about the mechanics of Qud and started learning how
Uh-huh.
to be cautious.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, it takes time. You kind of have to learn the language of the game. This is the case with any new game that I start, especially roguelikes or survival games or otherwise complicated games. Every game has kind of a way that it talks to you, a way that it communicates its mechanics, and some games are more articulate about this, and some games are a little bit more obtuse.
Mhm.
Um, and like whether or not you can interface with that and still have a good time is very dependent on how you read those languages as a player. And I think it's really interesting to see the way that different games, like from a designer's perspective, it's cool to see how different games communicate what they're trying to tell you about how to play.
Mhm.
It is a thing that I think a lot about because it is a big part of my career path, and it is a big part of my role on the CUD team, is to think about accessibility and kind of just try to pick apart the game of brain, and figure out how to speak to people in their own language.
Yeah, and I think this is like this. I am even hesitant to bring this game up because it is this horse is well dead. Um, but I think this is a thing that wasn't really said enough about something like Dark Souls. Was that
Dark Souls.
Dark Souls? Caves of Qud is very much the Dark Souls of roguelikes.
Oh boy. Are we though? I feel like there are definitely more difficult and more obtuse games out there,
Well,
and
here's the
ones that are more punishing. Well, maybe not.
this is the thing though. This is the thing I've thought about when it
Uh-huh.
comes to Dark Souls is that I think the draw for something like Dark Souls wasn't necessarily the difficulty because there are more difficult games than Cut.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's about the conveyance, like the way the world conveys itself to you and the way the
Mm,
mechanics convey themselves to
okay,
you
yeah.
is very, at least in its time, novel. And I think
There
that's
is
true
kind of
also
a
for
lot
Cut.
of learn it by mashing your face against it until it makes sense. I think is kind of there's a common thread there. Is that CUD rewards doing. It punishes doing also, but it rewards doing in its own unique and helpful way.
Yeah, and that's that. Like, I mean, I would be lying if I said I've discovered, all of the things that are keeping me alive in this game. I've had people tell me, very much like blank faced, this is what you're doing wrong, and this is what you need to be doing more, and this will help you survive. So in that respect, it is a pretty obtuse experience, but I can't help. I actually want. Okay, hold on. We're in a situation here.
We are in a little bit of a situation. Salt hoppers are no joke.
They're no joke. We've discovered
hey, you regained your bearings. See if you can go to the map. Hey, you can. That's always wonderful when something's on your tail, but it's not close enough to prevent you from going to the map or using a recoiler.
Yeah. You know what's scary is a snapshot with a shotgun. I'm not.
They're not that scary. The thing about them is that if they see you from a distance, the chances that they'll do any substantial damage to you is very, very low. Also, they usually only have a few shells.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they usually don't have a lot in the way of ammo, after which they have to come up and attack you just like any other snapshot would. So yeah, they're not too bad unless you encounter them like in a hallway, in which case you might be in trouble. Like if you encounter them in a small room, then there's a chance that they will do a lot of damage to you. But out in the open like this, it's just not terribly dangerous.
Right. Okay.
Also, pump action shotguns are great for finding 3-bits, which are notoriously difficult to locate. 2-bits are very easy to find in the desert. 1-bits are quite common and also commonly used, but 3-bits can be a little bit hard to get a hold of. But Snapjaw shotgunners are a good way to get them.
This is a whole mechanic that I have yet to kind of even dip my toes in, which is tinkering.
Is so fun. I love tinkering. I got into this for the tinkering because I'm a sucker for craft systems, and I realized that is not a thing that I share with everyone. But I love crafting stuff. I love loot, and I love crafting. So they tend to be some of the first things that I examine in a new game, and so I started picking up on the Qud tinkering system almost immediately.
It's something I want to get into. My situation, I also love a good crafting system, and especially one that offers creativity to the player, which a lot of crafting systems do not really.
That is true.
Are you angry at me, Mr. Goat? He's hot. Oh
no! Oh, it's because there's a kudzu symbiote, which tend to be aggressive by default.
This is unfortunate. I don't want to.
That is unfortunate. You may have to kill them.
This is a situation.
It is a bit of a situation. It looks like that hermit is going to help you though, which helps. Not so much because you are friends as because you have a shared enemy. All right, you did it. What did you chop off?
I chopped off. Sometimes I find this hard to read.
That's legit. It could be more readable.
The goat's face.
Oh, well, if you want to boost your ego, you could always wear it. Not very respectful, but you know.
Yeah,
the goat wasn't very respectful to you either.
I prefer maybe to eat it later. I don't know.
That's fine.
This is a whole thing.
You can put it on if you need to go shopping. You know, like a normal person would. You know how when you go out shopping, you wear the face of your enemy so that the people around you will be more intimidated? Yeah, me too.
I definitely appreciate it. It was Macaulay Culkin bought a face mask.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Oh man.
Yeah,
that was good. When I was little, I looked like Macaulay Culkin and was the same age as Macaulay Culkin, so I got a lot of Macaulay Culkin jokes when I was little. And I did in fact do the scream a few times for people.
Fantastic.
I'm not proud.
No, be proud. All right. Let me think for a moment. I'm just taking in our surroundings. I'm pretty proud of surviving this whole situation.
Yeah, no, it's looking good. It's looking good. And you have your safe area now, which you can retreat to. Hey, you found a knick-knack.
I did find a knick-knack. What did I pick up there? Oh, a shotgun shell.
Oh, okay.
Does that count as a knick-knack?
Really? Maybe it is.
Maybe it's the shotgun.
Maybe it's the shotgun.
Weird artifact.
Oh yeah, 12 pounds. That's a shotgun.
I haven't gotten into that meta of counting or looking at the weight and knowing vaguely what it is.
Yeah, it's something you learn over time.
There's just a lot going on.
There's a lot. There's a lot going on. It's busy. It's busy here.
Anti-him. Perfect. He was 90. Oh, that's a death.
Mm-hmm.
I usually read the lore, but for the sake of keeping our dialogue going.
I get it. I get it.
So I had some questions regarding Bela. Maybe we can get into that. I'm gonna look for the. Oh, they cracked my armor. That's good. Okay. Just side question. That wears off, correct?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so
I feel like we should call it something other than cracked. I think it should be unseated. But like that's at this point, like little differences in design decisions are things that I'm kind of strategically sitting on until I think they will be well received. We're getting toward the end of our production cycle, and we're gonna need to pick and choose what gets in and what doesn't.
Right. That's really interesting. I know that like the last 20% of a game is like the most difficult part.
Compromises. It's just lots and lots of compromises. Yeah. And that's as it is in AAA, so too is it in indie games. I have worked on projects in both fields. This is my favorite though.
This Qud. I mean, like it's hard to like. I know one can approach like a game they really enjoy. No, my weapon's rusted. With like kind of rose tinted glasses or, oh no, never mind. Like it's. I can't presume, oh yeah, Qud's like definitely up there in terms of my favorite game, so it must be awesome working on it, but it's still work.
Yeah, it is still work, but also like, one of the things that really makes more of a difference, in my opinion, than anything else is what your team is like. If you have a good team, it can make a drudge project pleasant, and if you have a bad team, it can make a really good project miserable. Again, I have been on both sides of these things. And like, the thing about Qud is that I feel as though there's not a lot of ego on the team. There's not a lot of grandstanding or like people don't get bent out of shape about things being cut or included. We're all just kind of professionals about it, which is awfully nice, but also it's relatively casual because I think everybody on the team is neurodivergent. I don't think we've got a single person who doesn't have some kind of learning disability or mental thing that they are dealing with. So it means that you've got this team that's really compassionate about biochemical issues or illnesses or just not being well, but also we hold one another to account, and everybody's very respectful of one another's time. So really it's the team. Like the project is amazing, but the team is what makes it good to work for.
And this is actually something that really struck me about the Qud community, and like how you have all like managed that is for someone who's like just kind of like, oh yeah, this looks like a fun game, let's, and then you like you are introduced to the community, and it's like shockingly in a really nice way, shockingly like intolerantly tolerant.
Yes, and we're proud of that.
It shows, and I think that's great. I think that's fantastic.
I arguably am like kind of I think that I wear hats from the most different crowds of anybody on Freehold, because I am technically a mod of the Discord. I am technically, I'm also a contributing dev, and I'm also, I guess, a marketing consultant. The Gra thing kind of came out of nowhere, and I volunteered to do it. But like, Brian was extremely enthusiastic about the idea, so like it was really, really easy to greenlight. but yeah, no, it's been a really great experience. The community is really good. I get to see it from a lot of different angles, and it impresses me every time. Our Discord may seem a little bit unfriendly to some people, but that's by design. Like if our Discord is completely unfriendly to you, it's because you shouldn't be there. If our Discord is somewhat unfriendly to you, well, maybe we can work that out. Because like it's a community. It has all of the problems that an online community has, which is to say, you're going to get people who are extreme examples of any given archetype in any given community. And I know that that's been very, very difficult for the team to manage, but I feel like they've done a real bang up job. I've been mostly observing it rather than directly participating. But when if there's a moderation issue that happens at like 7 a.m, usually I'm the one who's up because everybody else is over in California.
It seems to me that a lot of the devs on Qud are night owls. And
yeah.
When I approached you, I was like actually like surprised, like I'm better in the morning.
I'm the solitary morning person on the team. I have a horse. I have a horse. I don't have a horse.
You have a horse.
I have a host of like health issues, some of which tend to wake me up earlier in the morning than I'd prefer, and so I tend to be around and bustling earlier in the day. So whenever there's like Qud stuff where I'm like, I really want to make sure that I'm not gonna have to merge the build at the end of it, and I can just push and know that my changes will be compatible, I do it in the morning. So yeah, I think that I may have gotten us off track as I
no, that's totally fine. This is all really fun for me. So I don't care. Good. But I'm happy if you are tolerant. I don't know how long. I know you have a timeline, so I'm trying to keep to it, and I don't expect we will get to everything, and that's totally fine.
Not everything. But yeah, we can make substantial progress. I can stick around for like at least another 45 minutes, probably closer to an hour.
Okay.
And then past that, we'll see. But I do need to make sure that my spouse is fed, and I'll want some downtime before I have to help with Karen newsletter, which is a thing that I still edit.
This is news to me.
Sorry, I'm talking as if this is an understood thing. I actually edit my spouse's news roundup, which is all about like the constitutional crisis that the U.S. is facing and like related issues. Like activism is kind of baked into the Qud culture, and all of us are very, very invested in left-wing politics and the well-being of marginalized people,
right?
Which a lot of game communities do not care about even a little bit. So we're trying to distinguish ourselves that way, and it feels like it's working pretty good. Like sometimes it means that we come off as needlessly harsh, but anybody who's been in a more moderated forum knows that that's really the only way that you can maintain control, is to be pretty decisive, and then just be open to people who are willing to communicate.
Yeah, I mean that's like I have a I can talk about like my background maybe like off stream. So
I only just noticed. Yeah, we're getting a carapace, huh?
We're getting carapace.
You got to get that carapace.
We're getting a limb.
A
pincer grows out of your right.
Well, you can equip another tool or weapon in there. So
is that an arm?
Yeah, it is a manipulator. So you've got your multiple weapon fighting path already established.
That's fantastic. Okay.
Left.
I just want to make sure I'm holding as many axes as I can. Right hand. Oh yeah, we want to not wear that. We want to We want to put an axe in that if we can.
You sure do.
I'm not seeing an extra. I think we do not have one.
Oh, well, if you have a dagger, you could use that.
Yeah, that works.
Speccing to short blades while you're also an axe user is pretty good, because one of the early... Whoa! What happened?
We were in a combat situation when I did
okay.
That
Got
was
it.
not
Got
a
it.
good...
I got a little lost there.
Oh, we don't have night vision. I am so used to having night vision.
You still do need to put the glow sphere or torch in one of your hands.
So
but luckily, you have 3 hands.
This is very handy.
There you go. There you go.
Perfect.
Woof.
Yeah, our situation is.
You might want to take that bottleneck. Go to the hallway and kind of wedge yourself in the entrance to limit how many critters can attack you at once.
Yeah, I want to do that. Also, I'm out of witchwood bark. This is and there's a jilted lover in there.
Oh, that's a problem.
That is a problem.
You might want to hit sprint and run for the stairs. Just.
I would love to do that.
Speed southeast as quickly. Oh, is your sprint expended?
It is expended.
Oh no.
This may be the end.
This may be the end. But you know what? Why don't you go ahead and lead them south and see what happens? Get behind that hermit.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. That gives you a little bit of extra space. I would say continue to proceed down. Let the hermit distract that centipede and maybe get to that. Yeah, charge that hunter. They won't have many arrows, and the arrows. Well, okay. I'm realizing that you only have 1 hit point left.
I will load if this goes badly.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Oh, died. So it goes.
That's okay. So it yeah. The last time I saved was at level 2. That's really unfortunate.
Oh no. Well, you can always explore a little bit of a different way if you want to. Hit a different. That is brutal. Ugh, rip.
That's a big rip.
That's a big rip, but it's one that every Qud player is going to deal with at some point, even if they're playing on non-permadeath. I mean, we're going to have an official non-permadeath mode at some point. We just haven't nailed down what it's going to look like.
I am interested in that.
So am I.
Right.
I think it's going to be good.
I'm sure, the thing that impresses me about Qud is everything that has been added or taken away to me feels very thought through, and only an improvement.
That is one. Everything gets discussed to death, and it's great. we discuss everything a lot, and sometimes Brian and Jason will come up with a thing and just kind of be like, all right, we're gonna go with this. But there's been more and more checking in over time as the team grows, especially as Narf takes more responsibilities on and becomes more of a key part of the coding team, which I'm thrilled about. I think that they're really helping.
Yeah, I can't speak to Narf's ability, but I know just from working with Narf or hanging with Narf that they are super awesome, and I can imagine,
they've been a great addition to the team, very much so.
Let me ask 1 or 2 of the questions I prepared.
Please do. No, I'm realizing that I can ramble about anything more or less ad nauseum, but you probably had some questions and should get to answer them.
No, that's all right.
So go for it.
I definitely got distracted by dying and all that.
I understand. Dying is powerfully distracting.
Yeah, we might die again here. Oh, I died.
This is the danger, actually, of playing with permadeath off. Actually, is that it can kind of cause your vigilance to slip.
Yeah,
and the thing about it is that I'm not sure that I'm ever going to be super good at this game, because you do have to have kind of this iron will, this vigilance that doesn't let up. And I don't know. I don't really have that, and I'm not sure that I'm going to cultivate that so that I can play video games.
Yeah, I can understand that. I want
Yeah.
to be good at, like, for me the motivation is I would like to beat Qud. That's sort of where it begins and ends.
Yeah, that's valid.
And that actually leads me into one of my few questions I think would be worth talking about. So I have here Qud interpretations. I had a few of these.
Qud interpretations.
So Qud is, I think you've mentioned this as well. Qud is very much about interpretation,
Yes.
almost more so than like history.
I would say that it is, if anything, an homage to the unreliable and varied nature of history.
That you've already answered. You're great. You're great.
This is not an official line. This is just like from having worked with the material for years now, and having experienced Jason's design philosophy. But like, you know, be more specific, and maybe I can answer more specifically.
Well, I had one, maybe one of the spiciest questions on here is there anything in Qud that you think is legitimately canon?
Let me think about that for a second. Anything in Qud that is legitimately canon? Yeah, the Carbide Chef fanfic series. It's the only canon text in Qud. No, actually, I don't know. Like, I don't know that there is necessarily a canon. I think that if you get to the most like broad interpretation of any given thing, like if you look at your chronology, I think that is correct. I think that the chronology as laid out in your journal is factual, more or less, with potential exceptions.
So
that's the thing. Is there a thing that we can definitively say is canon, happens verbatim, and is presented to the player exactly as it occurred? And the answer is no. No, I don't think there is anything like that. I think that it is kind of counter to what Qud is, which is to say a malleable, ever-repeating, ever-changing story.
Okay.
Right? Like as Jason put it in his Narroscope talk, which I do recommend everyone look into, which was actually about how interacting with the community affected him and affected the way that he was working on his game. He talked about how any given playthrough of Caves of Qud is a little bit like fan fiction of the main narrative. Because things happen differently every time, and the way that they happen can be hugely defining. You know, it is not established who you... did you get your thing rusted again? Or did your primary hand change?
My primary hand seems to have changed.
Yeah, let's...
How do I... I thought you could change the primary.
You can, but you got to be out of combat first. So kill this pal one way or another. Maybe... Alternately, you could run.
Yeah,
I was about to say. If you get... What was that?
That was me getting pot shot.
Oh, I see.
Goodness. Okay, we'll be fine. We'll be
fine. Witchwood bark is cheap and abundant.
Let me take those daggers.
Cheap and abundant. I mean, like, sometimes somewhat of a pain in the ass to get, but I feel like you could probably handle getting it. Also, the area around these rust wells often has ripe witchwood trees, if you want to take a look around. Oh, hey, do you have a bloodstained neck ring on you?
I do not.
That's a shame. Equipping one of those will make the baboons leave you alone.
Oh, okay. I still can't make it my primary. I'm wondering if this is a feat. Oh wait,
no, go back and hit tab. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Can't switch primary. We're combat.
Still in combat for some reason. Oh, we're too close to the kudzu? Oh, that's obnoxious.
Okay.
There we go. Oh, you have a fin. I missed that you sprouted a fin.
I do have a fin.
Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. So I believe you can probably... Wait, do you have any weapons? Can you equip a weapon to it? I don't know what a fin is.
You don't have anything to use in that slot.
Interesting.
I'm not sure. Yeah. To get back a bit, do you think that even the Reshef lore is open to interpretation?
I'm a little bit less certain about that. I think that So the thing about the Reshef lore is that it is consistent from playthrough to playthrough, but we see considerable evidence in the text of the game itself that none of the accounts that we are seeing are terribly accurate. Like the Reshef lore that you receive by looking at statues is rather nakedly obvious to be a historical account that is not necessarily accurate. After all, the story of Reshef the Sultan is a little bit different from the story of Reshef the Argent Father, who is, enshrined through Shekinah's religion, Mechanism. So we already know that there are some kind of, if not conflicting, then certainly very differently focused ideas about who Reshef is and what he did. But is there a Reshef? I'd feel pretty confident that Reshef existed. Did Reshef end the Sultanate? I think it's probably pretty safe to assume that he did. These are things that there's no utility in assuming that they are wrong. And kind of that's where we got to get to is it useful to think of a certain thing as wrong or right? How easily can you interpret what you are seeing and reading if this thing is correct or if this thing is not correct?
Well, and the interesting thing to me is that, who put up the statues, who writes the history? Is there might not be a in-game utility to the information about Reshef being wrong per se, but you could definitely come up with a bunch of theories as to Reshef was in charge of putting up the statues and dictated the history that he or she was involved with. So therefore they are going to come out on top. They are going to be the one who the hero of the story, when maybe Reshef was very much a Columbus of Qud, and had something to do with the Gyre.
Yeah, we don't have a good idea of what it means that he stopped the Gyre and made cured Glot Rot and banished the Gersh. We don't know how much of that he actually did. We also don't know what his direct involvement was. We see stories about his relationship to Rebecca, and we hear that she betrayed him, but there's no word about how. There's no word about what she did. What was Rebecca's crime? What was so bad that she was condemned to not die in the Tomb of the Eaters, but be buried in a humble grave outside of it?
Right.
These are questions that we do not answer. And the extent to which we do answer these things, there is a canon explanation for our purposes, for what, who Rebecca is and what her relationship to Reshef was. But there's just as much lore kind of embedded in these falsehoods, in these legends and tall tales, as there is in the truth of what actually happened. So I feel as though, you can expect some elucidation as the game finishes, but there'll definitely be some things that remain pretty vague. If I know Jason, and I think I do, since I was hired because I'm able to mimic his voice. that was the whole reason that I got hired, is because I can do the Qud voice. I understand how the narrative works, more or less. And there have been a lot of things that I've learned since being hired too.
I'm gonna stop you there.
Oh yeah.
Just for a sec. I'm gonna break the episode and
totally,
ask you,
totally.
Would you like to, could you stay for one more?
Yeah, I can stay for one more.
Okay, perfect. I hope you're enjoying this series. This is really interesting stuff about Caves of Qud with Caelyn.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Deep lore rambling.
Even deeper lore rambling.
Come on back and get your lore.
Okay. I really want to ask some of the some questions about Bela, because
Yes,
I know
next episode I will be happy to answer these things, and I might not even wander off track. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, maybe I'll wander off track.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. Like if you did, follow if you aren't, and I'll see you next time for some cutting with Caelyn.
See you next time, gang. Bye-bye.